The Shiites is a political group that only appeared after the death of the Prophet. And there were 4 rulers that came after the Prophet Muhammad that he named should rule in succession. The first 2 there was no problems with them. The last 2 was Osman and Ali. Okay, Osman should be the 3rd and Ali was supposed to be the 4th. But Ali ibn Abi Talib was the cousin of the Prophet. And he was getting quite old at that stage. So some people said that because Ali was the cousin and because he was so old, he should rule before Osman. He should be the 3rd instead of the 4th. And these were the Shiites. So it was a political on the choice of the ruler. Okay? But somebody who is from that group, from these Shiites, who does the extra prayers, he's both a Shiite and a Sunni at the same time. Okay? So one of them is a political move, one of them is a religious thing. Okay? There isn't really such an opposition in religion in that sense. The Shiites themselves, however, split up into sections and groups after that. There are 12 sections in the Shiites. Okay? 11 of them have got no problem with the Sunnis. They basically, we believe in the same Quran, we believe in everything, like the Prophet Muhammad and all of this, with the prayers are done exactly the same. There's only one section, which is the extreme of the Shiites, that even say that God made a mistake. Muhammad was not supposed to be the Prophet. Ali was meant to be the Prophet. And that God made a mistake and the messenger, or the book was sent to Muhammad by mistake, that it was meant to go to Ali. But that is only the far extreme, and there is very small minority. They're not even accepted by the rest of the Shiites. The rest of the Shiites all honor Ali extremely, almost to the level of the Prophet, but they believe in the Prophet as a Prophet. Okay, and Ali is extremely honored in that sense. Okay, but it's only that one sect that says that God made a mistake and it's got fixed up. So
we're getting close to Luxor, Egypt. The river seems to have gotten wider. With more powerful waves.
Okay.
That's the hotel, we're gonna say.
Which hotel?
Luxor-Temple.
see you all in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
35 minutes, 30 minutes.
So no, just on a man.
Well,
We are.
That's right. Story.
Does he have a cartouche on it?
Does he have a cartouche? Is he Pharaoh? Is he Pharaoh? He's gonna have a cartouche.
We need to follow the yellow brick road. That's right.
There you go. It's right down there. That's the yellow brick line. Follow the yellow line.
so many books.
Luxor General Hospital.
They're trying to work. They're trying to improve it. That's the temple.
Temple Luxor.
You all seen the temple?
Wow.
Good. Now we're going. Now we're going to have a coffee.
Back to the bar. Back to the
Seen the
bar.
temple? Now we're going to have a coffee.
Well, obviously a man who takes all that time to decorate his horse like that is someone like yours.
Stone wall, and the semicircle is the direction for prayer. So you know that Mecca is that way. And when the people want to do the prayers, they just wash using the water in there, the purification that they do, and then they can do the prayer straight away.
It's a mosque right there.
What does Luxor mean? Luxor means
Disneyland? Las Vegas.
the original name of the city in the ancient Egyptian times used to be Iyun. Iyun. That was the pharaonic name. When the Greeks arrived into Egypt, they came to Luxor with its surrounding walls. Remember, every city and town and village had to be surrounded by enclosure walls to avoid the floods. with its surrounding walls and buildings inside and the grandeur of the city, it resembled their own Thebes of Greece. So the Greeks gave it the name Thebes or Thebes. Right? When the Arabs arrived to the city, a lot of these grandiose buildings were destroyed, were on the ground, were covered up, with hills all around it. Only bits and pieces of stone appeared above the ground. And they believed that all of these were remains of the palaces of the ancient Egyptians. Now remember, the Arabs came into Egypt in 646 AD, so we're looking at 7th century. Virtually nothing was known about the pharaonic kingdom. Only what had been taught by word of mouth, that there were pharaohs living here and that they built the pyramids, all of these things. But no details were known at the time. And they believed that all of these remains were parts of the palace. So they called the city of palaces, which in the Arabic language, the word for palace is qasr. And palaces, the plural is aqsur, al-aqsur. And that's the actual name of the city is al-aqsur, which is mispronounced into Luxor. Okay? That's where it comes from. Was done in situ after the statues were erected. And there is 4 of them. We have 2 here on the outside and there are 2 others on the inside. There were 6 statues altogether on the outside, the 2 colossal seated statues. Then there were 2 other smaller statues. Who is it that does that? Who's tying the north and south? Who connects between the north and south of Egypt?
Unification of Egypt.
Who links the north to the south? The Nile. It's the Nile got happy. Remember the Homo Aphrodite? You see the lungs, which represents the Nile Valley and the Delta. Say that the Nile is the source of life for Egypt, with the Nile Valley and the Delta being equal to the trachea and the lungs for the human being, and that the... Can't hear you! Can't hear you! Don't want to hear you, because they're not cartouches. These are not cartouches. Name tags I will accept. Cartouches? No. Cartouches are only for the king. The cartouches men. So we think that the couple on this side represents Tutankhamun and his wife in the form of the god Amun and his wife. And the one on his own here and the couple on the other side are most probably with Amenhotep II, and in this case with his wife with him. As I said, the names found on them are all of Ramses II. He didn't mind taking credit for anything. The other side were the worst affected columns, and they had to keep them on scaffolding. They were held by wooden scaffolding to stop the foundation, to stop the columns from sinking down into the ground. That's how bad it was. Sucked in the water coming from the river. If you look at the river, it's just behind the trees, on the other side of the trees. It's barely cold. So the water was seeping through and was affecting the foundation all over the temple. After being held by scaffolding for several years, they finally decided to save the temple. And a major project started where they first of all sliced these columns off. All of these columns were sliced, dismantled, removed from the site completely up to the side of there. They were laid out and covered at the site. Then they dug out the whole temple, put a new foundation of water-resistant concrete cylinders, put a coffer dam on this side to stop the water from filtering through, then reconstructed the columns again. Capital, or the papyrus ones, like the one back there. The reason for that is that lotus and papyrus do have a religious meaning and significance to the Egyptians. So the Egyptians only used those 2 columns, those 2 types of columns, plus the third one was the one with the head of the goddess Hathor. And that's only used in temples of Hathor. When the Greeks came to Egypt, they thought that the Egyptians only used those 2 styles because they cannot do any better. So they decided to improve onto the Egyptian workmanship by using all the floral capitals that we've seen in the temples we've visited already, which might look better, but they've lost the religious meaning to the Egyptians. They do not have any religious application anymore. That's the name, but it's missing the first letter. Constantine. Constantino. Emperor Constantine.
Excuse me.
Max.
He came here and he presented this altar to be part of the church. Now, once this happened, of course, the church became extremely famous. More and more people were coming to attend services at the church. Eventually, the priest